Welcome, friend. Right now, as you're watching this video, I want you to pause and notice something extraordinary: your mind. It's working constantly, isn't it? Creating thoughts, judgments, worries, plans, even right now. Take a breath. Feel that? That brief moment of stillness before the next thought storms in. That's what we're going to explore today. The greatest challenge you face isn't out there in the world. It's the untamed wilderness of your own mind. When someone cuts you off in traffic, makes you wait in line, or says something hurtful, it's not their actions that cause your suffering. It's what happens next in your mind. What if I told you that true freedom isn't about controlling the world around you, but mastering the world within? The ancient wisdom I'm about to share has transformed millions of lives across thousands of years. These aren't complicated techniques requiring years of practice. They're simple truths you can apply today, this very moment, to experience more peace than you thought possible. Are you ready to discover why your mind creates suffering and how to break free? Are you prepared to see through the illusions that rob you of happiness? Then let's begin a journey that might just change everything. When you wake up in the morning, your thoughts begin racing before your feet even touch the floor. I'm running late. I have that difficult meeting today. What if my presentation goes poorly? Before you know it, 5 worries have piled up, and you haven't even brushed your teeth. This is your mind creating stories about things that haven't even happened yet. The first step in working with this busy mind is simply noticing what's happening. Next time you feel anxious or upset, pause for a moment. Notice how your thoughts are moving. Are they spinning stories about the future? Are they replaying something from the past? Just watching your mind without trying to change anything is powerful medicine. One helpful practice is to label your thoughts as they arise. When you notice you're worrying about tomorrow, simply say to yourself, planning. When you're remembering something embarrassing from years ago, note remembering. This simple act of naming creates a tiny bit of space between you and your thoughts. It's like stepping back to see that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness watching them. Our minds have certain patterns that block our peace. Sometimes we get caught in wanting things to be different than they are. Other times we try to push away uncomfortable feelings. We might get sleepy when facing difficult truths, or bounce between doubt and restlessness when trying to stay present. Recognizing these patterns is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly you can see what's been there all along. The practice of sitting quietly and watching your breath can reveal these patterns clearly. You don't need special cushions or hours of free time. Even 5 minutes of watching your breath go in and out can show you how your mind works. When thoughts pull you away from your breath, which they will, again and again, gently come back without judgment. This returning is the practice. Remember that thoughts are like weather patterns passing through the sky of your mind. Sometimes there are storm clouds of anger, sometimes fog banks of confusion, sometimes sunshine of joy. But the sky itself, your awareness, remains unchanged through it all. You are not your thoughts. You are the spacious awareness in which they arise and fade away. When negative thoughts arise, try this simple approach. Don't fight them. Don't follow them. Just watch them. Fighting thoughts only makes them stronger. Following them leads you down rabbit holes of worry. But watching them with kind curiosity allows them to pass through without causing harm. This understanding, that you are not your thoughts, but the awareness watching them, is the foundation for everything that follows. Once you see this truth in your own experience, you've taken the first step on a path that leads to lasting peace and happiness. Now that you understand how your mind works, let's discover the most powerful tool you already possess: your breath. It's always with you, completely free, and requires no special equipment. Yet most people go through life without ever really breathing. Think about it. Have you noticed how your breath changes when you're angry? it becomes fast and shallow. When you're relaxed, it slows and deepens. Your emotional state affects your breathing. But here's the amazing secret. Your breathing can change your emotional state too. The next time anxiety strikes, try this. Breathe in slowly through your nose while counting to 4. Hold that breath for a count of 1. Then release it gradually through your mouth for a count of 6. Feel that? That's your body's emergency response system powering down in real time. This isn't just ancient wisdom. Modern science confirms that slow, deliberate breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest and recovery. It literally changes your brain chemistry within seconds. Your breath is like an anchor in a stormy sea. When thoughts toss you around and emotions crash over you like waves, your breath remains steady, always there to return to. This is why wise teachers across generations have called it the gateway to peace. Try this practice. As you breathe in, silently say to yourself, "I am breathing in." As you breathe out, "I am breathing out." When your mind wanders, which it will, gently bring it back to these simple words and the sensation of air moving in and out of your body. There's incredible power in connecting your mind and body through breath awareness. When you're fully present with your breathing, you're not replaying yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. You're right here, right now, the only place where life actually happens. In difficult conversations, taking 3 conscious breaths before responding can completely transform the outcome. In moments of frustration, 1 deep breath can be the difference between an action you'll regret and a response you'll be proud of. Remember that your breath changes naturally throughout the day. Sometimes it's deep and slow, other times quick and shallow. The practice isn't about controlling your breath perfectly. It's about returning your attention to it again and again, building the muscle of awareness. Now, let's explore how to bring this awareness into your everyday life. Have you noticed how much time you spend on autopilot? Driving home without remembering the journey, eating without tasting your food, talking with someone while your mind is somewhere else entirely. This divided attention is the normal state for most people, but it comes at a tremendous cost. You miss your actual life while lost in thoughts about your life. The practice of living in the present moment transforms ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones. When you wash dishes, just wash dishes. Feel the warm water on your hands. Notice the soap bubbles. Hear the sounds of plates touching. This isn't just doing chores. It's being fully alive in this one moment that will never come again. Walking is something you do every day. But when did you last really experience walking? Feel your feet touching the ground. Notice how your weight shifts with each step. Observe how your arms naturally swing to maintain balance. When your mind wanders to worries or plans, gently bring it back to the simple experience of walking. Eating becomes a revelation when done with full awareness. Before taking your first bite, pause to look at your food. Where did it come from? Who grew it? How many people helped bring it to your table? Then, experience each bite completely. The textures, temperatures, flavors, all dancing together. One meal eaten this way brings more satisfaction than 10 meals gulped down while scrolling through your phone. The beauty of this practice is that it requires no extra time in your busy day. You're already washing dishes, walking, and eating. The only difference is where your attention goes during these activities. Start with just one everyday activity this week. Perhaps brushing your teeth or taking a shower. Make it your mindfulness practice. When you notice your mind wandering, which it certainly will, gently bring it back without judgment. This returning is the practice itself. Remember that doing one thing at a time goes against our modern culture of constant multitasking. Your mind will resist at first. That's normal. But soon you will discover that giving your full attention to one thing is not only more effective, it's deeply satisfying in a way that divided attention never can be. The present moment is the only moment where life actually happens. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. When you touch this truth directly through your own experience, something profound shifts. You stop missing your life while thinking about your life. As we develop awareness of our own minds and learn to be present, we naturally begin to notice something profound. Other people are struggling just like we are. The people who frustrate you, who cut you off in traffic, who say hurtful things, they're all carrying invisible burdens you know nothing about. Think about the person who irritated you most recently. Now imagine following them home. Perhaps they're caring for a sick parent. Maybe they just received difficult news. Or they might simply be caught in their own whirlwind of anxious thoughts, just like you sometimes are. This simple shift in perspective is the beginning of true compassion. Not the greeting card version that feels warm and fuzzy, but the courageous willingness to see that everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Next time someone upsets you, try this practice. Take a breath and silently say, "Just like me, this person wants to be happy. Just like me, this person wishes to avoid suffering." This doesn't mean you approve of their behavior. It simply acknowledges our shared humanity. When you feel anger rising towards someone, remember that anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. The first person harmed by your anger is always you. Your blood pressure rises, stress hormones flood your system, and your mind becomes clouded, all while the other person often remains completely unaffected. There's a powerful practice for when someone has truly hurt you. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and imagine that person sitting in front of you. Then imagine breathing in their pain as a dark cloud and breathing out relief and healing as light. This may seem strange at first. Why would you take in someone else's suffering? But this mental exercise doesn't increase your suffering. It transforms it by opening your heart. Compassion isn't always about grand gestures. It lives in small moments, letting someone go ahead of you in line, really listening when a friend speaks instead of waiting for your turn to talk, or simply sending a silent wish for happiness to strangers you pass on the street. Remember that genuine compassion includes healthy boundaries. It doesn't mean becoming a doormat or exhausting yourself by trying to fix everyone's problems. Sometimes the most compassionate action is saying no or stepping back to protect your own well-being. The wonderful paradox is that extending compassion to others ultimately brings us greater happiness than self-focus ever could. When you genuinely celebrate someone else's good fortune, you get to experience joy without waiting for something good to happen to you. Having explored compassion for others, let's turn the light inward. Of all the people you'll meet in your lifetime, there's one relationship that impacts your happiness more than any other: the relationship with yourself. Yet surprisingly, this is where many of us are harshest. Listen to your inner voice for a moment. Would you speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? "That was stupid. I always mess things up. I'm not good enough." Most of us say things to ourselves we would never say to someone we care about. Self-compassion isn't self-pity or making excuses. It's treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend who's struggling. When you make a mistake, instead of the usual harsh self-criticism, try placing a hand on your heart and saying, "This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is part of being human. May I be kind to myself in this moment." There's a powerful story about a master who asked his student to carry 2 potatoes in his pocket. One potato represented his good qualities, the other his flaws. After a week, the student returned with 1 rotten potato and 1 perfectly preserved. When asked why, he admitted he'd repeatedly taken out the flaws potato to examine it, while rarely looking at the good qualities potato. This is how many of us treat ourselves, constantly examining our flaws while ignoring our goodness. Think of self-compassion as having 3 parts. First, noticing your suffering without ignoring it or exaggerating it. Second, remembering that imperfection is part of the shared human experience. Everyone fails, makes mistakes, and experiences heartbreak. Third, offering yourself kindness rather than harsh judgment. When facing failure or difficulty, ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? Then offer those same words to yourself. This simple practice can transform your relationship with yourself over time. Remember that your internal critic believes its harsh voice keeps you on track, but research shows the opposite is true. People motivated by self-compassion are actually more likely to improve, try again after failure, and take better care of themselves than those driven by self-criticism. Self-compassion isn't a luxury, it's essential. Like putting on your own oxygen mask first on an airplane, you must nourish yourself before you can truly care for others. When your inner well is dry, you have nothing to give. Life pulls us toward extremes. Some days we push ourselves too hard, running on empty until we crash. Other days we might swing to the opposite extreme, total inaction, endless scrolling, or numbing out with whatever takes the edge off. Neither extreme brings lasting happiness. The secret to a balanced life lies in the middle path. Not too tight, not too loose. Think of a guitar string. Too tight, it snaps. Too loose, it makes no music. Only when tuned just right does it create beautiful harmony. This balance applies to everything in your life. Take eating. Some people severely restrict food, creating unhealthy relationships with their bodies. Others eat whatever they want without awareness, disconnected from how food affects their well-being. The middle way means eating nourishing food with enjoyment and awareness, neither obsessing nor ignoring. Or consider work and rest. Our culture often celebrates exhaustion as a badge of honor. "I'll sleep when I'm dead" becomes a misguided mantra. At the other extreme, some avoid all challenge or effort. The balanced approach recognizes that meaningful work and deep rest support each other. Like breathing in and out, both are essential. Watch for these patterns in your own life. Where do you tend to push too hard? Where do you tend to check out completely? Simply noticing these tendencies is the first step toward finding balance. The middle way also applies to your spiritual practice. Some approach personal growth with grim determination, turning it into another form of self-improvement to feel better about themselves. Others dabble superficially, wanting the benefits without the effort. The balanced approach is consistent but gentle, showing up regularly with kind awareness rather than harsh discipline or flighty inconsistency. This principle even helps in relationships. Some people lose themselves completely in others, sacrificing their own needs and boundaries. Others maintain such rigid independence that they never allow true intimacy. The middle path means being close while maintaining healthy boundaries, connected without being consumed. Try this practice for finding your own middle way. When facing any decision, ask yourself, where are the extremes here, and what would the balanced choice look like? Often, you'll find wisdom in the space between all or nothing thinking. Remember that balance isn't a fixed point you reach once and for all. It's a continuous adjustment, like riding a bicycle. You constantly make small corrections as you move forward. Look around you for a moment. Everything you see is changing. The clouds move across the sky. Your body ages day by day. Even mountains are slowly wearing down, though we don't live long enough to notice. Nothing stays the same forever. This constant change isn't something to fear. It's the natural rhythm of life. Imagine if nothing ever changed. There would be no spring after winter, no growth, no healing, no new possibilities. Yet we often fight against change with all our might, especially when it comes to things we love. Think about the last time you felt truly happy. Perhaps it was during a beautiful vacation, a special celebration, or a quiet moment with someone you love. If you noticed a thought like, "I wish this could last forever," That's your mind resisting impermanence. But what makes those moments precious is precisely that they don't last forever. There's a story about a king who wanted something that would make him happy when he was sad and sad when he was happy. A wise elder gave him a simple ring with the words, "This too shall pass," engraved inside. Whether facing joy or sorrow, remembering that nothing is permanent brings both comfort in difficult times and deeper appreciation in good ones. When something difficult happens, a relationship ends, you lose a job, or face illness, remind yourself, this is changing too. Not as a way to dismiss your pain, but to recognize that even the hardest feelings eventually transform. No storm, no matter how fierce, lasts forever. The same is true for positive experiences. When something wonderful happens, acknowledging this too will change doesn't diminish your joy. Instead, it invites you to fully appreciate the experience now without taking it for granted. Try this simple practice. Notice something around you that's visibly changing, perhaps a candle flame, clouds moving, or even your own breath. Watch this change closely for 2 minutes. Then consider how everything in your life follows this same pattern of arising and passing away. We suffer when we cling to things that can't last. It's like trying to hold on to water by squeezing your fist tighter. The harder you grasp, the more it slips away. But when you hold experiences lightly, with open hands, you can enjoy them fully without the suffering that comes from demanding permanence in an impermanent world. Each moment arrives fresh and new, has its brief time on stage, and then passes away to make room for the next moment. When you truly understand this, ordinary experiences become extraordinary. A simple meal, a conversation with a friend, even washing dishes. Each becomes precious when you recognize it will never happen exactly this way again. Take a moment to think about everything you own. Your clothes, gadgets, furniture, decorations, and all those boxes in storage you haven't opened in years. Now imagine losing it all in a fire. What feelings arise? For most people, the thought creates immediate panic and distress. This is the hidden burden of attachment. The more we own, the more we fear losing. We think possessions bring security, but often they bring the opposite. Worry, maintenance, comparison with others who have more, and the constant desire to upgrade to the newest version. There's a powerful story about a traveler who meets a monk carrying only a bowl, a robe, and a walking stick. "Where are all your things?" asks the traveler. The monk smiles and replies, "Where are yours?" Confused, the traveler explains he's just passing through. "So am I," says the monk. "We are all just passing through this life. Yet we often act as if we'll be here forever, accumulating more and more, rarely questioning if these possessions are lightening or weighing down our journey." Try this experiment. Choose one area of your home, a drawer, shelf, or closet. Remove everything. Before putting anything back, ask 3 questions. Do I truly need this? Does it bring me genuine joy? Would I buy this again today? You might be surprised how few items pass all 3 tests. Simplicity isn't about owning nothing. It's about owning exactly what supports your well-being and purpose, nothing more. It's the difference between a garden carefully tended and a field overrun with weeds. Both have plants, but one has exactly what belongs there. Our minds also become cluttered with commitments, worries, digital inputs, and endless to-do lists. Just as physical clutter drains energy from your home, mental clutter exhausts your mind. Creating silent spaces in your day can be as refreshing as clearing out a crowded room. Real freedom comes not from having more choices, but from needing less. When your happiness depends on fewer external conditions, you become more resilient to life's inevitable changes. The person who needs a specific temperature, special food, and perfect circumstances to be content will suffer far more than one who can be happy with whatever is present. The practice of letting go applies to ideas too. How tightly do you grip your opinions and beliefs? Many conflicts arise from defending mental positions as if they were physical territory. When you hold your viewpoints lightly, you remain open to learning and growing, ready to release what no longer serves truth. Life will sometimes knock you down. This isn't pessimism, it's reality. You'll face disappointments, losses, rejections, and situations that seem completely unfair. These challenges aren't optional extras in life. They're part of the basic package of being human. But here's the secret that transforms everything. While you can't always control what happens to you, you always have power over how you respond. This one shift in perspective can change a prison into a school, an obstacle into a doorway. There's a story about a farmer whose only horse ran away. The neighbors said, "What terrible luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned, bringing with it 7 wild horses. "What wonderful luck," exclaimed the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Then the farmer's son broke his leg while trying to tame one of the wild horses. "What terrible luck," said the neighbors. "Maybe," replied the farmer. The next day, military officials came to draft young men for war, but the son was passed over because of his broken leg. The story continues this way, showing how impossible it is to judge any event as purely good or bad. Every difficult situation carries hidden gifts if you're willing to look for them. The job loss that feels devastating might be clearing the way for work better suited to your talents. The relationship ending that breaks your heart might be making space for someone who truly appreciates you. Even illness and loss can deepen your appreciation for life and clarify what truly matters. This doesn't mean pretending to be happy when you're suffering. It means being willing to ask, what can I learn from this? How might this difficult experience help me grow? These questions transform you from victim to student. Try this practice when facing any challenge. First, acknowledge your feelings without judgment. It's natural to feel upset when difficult things happen. Then ask yourself, what strength might this situation be building in me? What might I understand now that I didn't before? The strongest people you'll meet aren't those who've had easy lives. They're those who've faced significant challenges and used them as fuel for growth. Like a pearl that forms around an irritating grain of sand, our most beautiful qualities often develop in response to difficulties. Remember that transforming adversity isn't about positive thinking alone. It's about finding constructive action, even if that action is simply changing your perspective. Sometimes the only thing you can change is the story you tell yourself about what's happening. Even small shifts make a difference. Instead of saying, "I'm stuck in traffic," try, "I have some unexpected time to listen to music." Rather than, "I have to clean the house," try, "I get to make my living space beautiful." These aren't just word games. They reflect fundamentally different relationships to the same reality. Have you noticed how your mind naturally gravitates toward problems? You can receive 10 compliments and 1 criticism, and guess which one you'll think about all night. This isn't your fault. Our brains evolved to scan for threats, not to appreciate flowers. But while this tendency helped our ancestors survive, it doesn't help us thrive in the modern world. The good news is that you can train your mind to notice the good just as easily as it notices the bad. This isn't about ignoring real problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about correcting your mind's natural negativity bias to see life more completely and accurately. Joy doesn't require special circumstances. It's available in ordinary moments if you're paying attention. The warmth of sunshine on your face, the taste of fresh water when you're thirsty, the sound of a loved one's voice. These simple pleasures are happening all around you, but they're easy to miss when you're rushing through life or lost in worry. Try this simple practice. At least once each day, stop whatever you're doing and ask, what's going well right now that I'm not noticing? Perhaps your body is healthy enough to move without pain. Maybe you have clean water to drink, or someone helped you in a small way that you took for granted. These aren't extraordinary blessings. They're the ordinary miracles that fill our lives. Gratitude is like a muscle that strengthens with use. Each night before sleep, bring to mind 3 specific things from that day that you appreciate. They don't need to be dramatic. The delicious apple you ate, the kind text from a friend, the moment of laughter during a difficult day. This practice gradually rewires your brain to scan for positives rather than just negatives. Finding joy in others' happiness is another powerful practice. When you see someone succeed or receive something good, consciously celebrate their joy instead of comparing yourself to them. This transforms potential jealousy into an opportunity for happiness. You get to experience joy without waiting for something good to happen to you. Serving others creates a reliable source of joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. Even in your most difficult times, you can offer a kind word, a thoughtful gesture, or simply your full attention to someone else. This connection lifts both spirits and reminds you that you always have something valuable to give. Remember that joy and sadness aren't opposites. They're companions. A heart open enough to feel deep joy is also open to feel sorrow. Trying to avoid difficult emotions blocks the pleasant ones too. The happiest people aren't those who never suffer, but those who fully embrace the entire range of human experience with an open heart. Thank you for joining me on this journey through these 10 Buddhist teachings. The path to calm and positivity isn't about escaping life's challenges. It's about meeting them with a mind that's clear, a heart that's open, and a spirit that's ready to learn and grow. Remember, these aren't just ideas to think about. They're practices to live. Start small. Choose just one concept that resonated with you today and try applying it in your life this week. Notice what changes, both within you and in your relationships with others. If you found value in these teachings, please consider subscribing to our channel for more wisdom from Buddhist traditions. Each video offers practical guidance for bringing more peace, compassion, and joy into your everyday life. And if you know someone who might benefit from these insights, perhaps a friend going through a difficult time, or simply someone interested in exploring mindfulness, please share this video with them. In doing so, you become part of spreading peace in our often chaotic world. Until next time, may you walk with awareness, speak with kindness, and live with an open heart. Thank you for your presence.